All right, Troy. So hopefully by this point, we've designed promotions and encouraged our folks to invite as many people as possible. And because of intentional planning and programming, we've had a great Christmas Eve experience. But as you and I were talking earlier, I think you and I would agree the real win would be not to get as many people to Christmas Eve, but to get folks to come back in January. So with that in mind, what have you seen work as far as getting folks to come back for those services in January?
Well, I think it's true. A lot of times when any kind of event planning, we often spend all this time on the front end and on the execution, but we forget about the back end. And sometimes it's the back end where the real win happens when we get people back and assimilated into the life of our church and we see life change. So it's important to think about that. I just encourage people to get creative with that. Typically what works is some type of teaching series that you will launch in January, something that hits a felt need, strikes a deep chord within people. You can always win with relationship series, family type series, anything that's dealing with just the real world things that I deal with every single day. You want the wife punching her husband going, we need to come back to that. We need to be a part of it. So I think that's a key promotion, key thing to do.
And it's not only the planning part of that, but I think you do want to be intentional too about how you equip the folks that are at the services to come back and invite their friends. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I definitely think that's a good thing. In most of the churches I've been at, we have planned, usually in the service, you keep your theme and everything, and at the very end, you hit them with something out of the blue that, is about this crazy new series that's coming in January. And typically we'll do some kind of video or something, nothing long, nothing drawn out, but just a quick little punch at the end that makes them go, wow. We also, don't print a lot. I don't print a lot of stuff, but sometimes it's good for this to hand out a flyer or maybe some invite cards, like business cards that you could hand out as people are going to go and invite people. Just something that gets in their hands that lays around their house that reminds them that this thing's coming up. So, and you can just get creative. There's no right or wrong, but I think you definitely want to make it feel like the thing to be at and the place to be come January.
That's great. Now, Troy, one of the reasons why I wanted to connect with you as it relates to Christmas Eve services is you're just very good, very strategic, really, about helping churches think about series planning, service planning. And could you elaborate a little bit, because now with all your experiences, you're beginning to help churches specifically as it relates to this area of ministry. Could you talk a little bit about what you're doing?
Well, I've had the opportunity to be a part of the local church and some of the fastest growing, most innovative churches for 16, 17 years now. And it's just part of who I am. And what I love is when a church can effectively develop teaching content that not only digs down and teaches people the essentials of the faith and the Bible and truth, but connects it with the culture in just relevant and I would also say just fun and exciting ways. And so that just doesn't happen overnight. And there's a lot of pieces and a lot of wheels that have to turn in order to execute great teaching series, from all the promotions and art and design to the music and the video and the creative elements that may be added to it. And those things take a lot of thought and a lot of time. So it's really important to plan ahead. And that's where I think a lot of churches get bogged down, trying to figure out how to plan ahead, how to figure out what they're going to do, how they're going to execute it, who needs to be in the room, who are the players, all of these things. And so what we're coming together to do through the Unstuck group is provide some mentoring and some coaching and some consultation to help churches be able to plan more effectively through the course of a year, so that you've got your plan together. Now we've got the systems and the ability to execute great series and to make them fire on all cylinders, so that when that person sits in the seat, they go, Hey, this church has its act together. Hey, this church knows where I live and what I'm dealing with. Hey, this is some information I need to understand. Hey, I'm going to change my life. And the light bulbs come on.
Yeah, that's great. And one of the things I really appreciate you among many, Troy, is that you're a teaching pastor, so you get that side of what a service is all about. But then you've led for years to the worship and the creative art side of things. So you've played in both worlds, and I think you have a keen sense of how the two really need to be married to communicate one message throughout the entire service or throughout an entire series. So it's really a great opportunity for churches if you're looking for help to put together strategies, new systems for series planning and for service planning. Troy offers a great opportunity for you to take some next steps in that area. So Troy, thanks today for helping us think about in early October about Christmas. But this has been helpful. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. Feliz Navidad.